This isn't a big flashy episode, but it's the kind of work that actually moves a build forward. Today I'm transferring the hood flush mounts, throwing some body filler on the windshield channel, POR 15 some rust, and puke some paint under the dash. It's the little stuff like this that matters, and it's real progress. Let's get to work and archive it. Man, that has been much needed of a power wash. Got the car back inside. No flash rust visible. Wiped it down pretty quick with alcohol. But there has been some flash rust accumulating over the last couple months of it just sitting in here from the humidity. So we're going to bust out the Eastwood Fast Etch again and go back over it. Once all the rust is taken care of, we could put some body filler back where the factory originally had it. We're going to spritz it on, kind of work it in, and then leave it wet, occasionally working it in. And then before it dries, I think they say to leave it on for up to 30 minutes. But don't let it dry, otherwise it'll pit the metal and it's a pain in the butt to get off. So don't let it dry, and then we'll wipe it off and I'll spray with alcohol or something else. Clean her up. Here we go. That thing's no good. Coming off. The surface is still really rough from last time where I just left this sit overnight. Stupid idea. But get most of this off and I'll probably just hit it with a flappy disc and be good to go. Alright, I'm going to keep this wet for a little bit, then wipe it off. But looks like it's working. This was all pitted last time, but it's kind of like a black color to it. So I think that's that iron phosphate. Or I'm gonna wipe down the areas where I got product on and move to the other side. So I did a lot of wire wheeling and sanding, trying to get all the heavy rust off, and I don't want to make too big of a project of this. So I'm going to knock off as much rust as I can and then degrease it and throw some POR 15 on the rusty areas, and then the rest of it we'll either get epoxy primer or we'll just rattle can it. And note to self, before we start priming, I got to transfer this little bracket here. I think it's for the hood. Hood must sit on it. But I got to cut these off and transfer them onto the new cowl. We'll get back to that during a second. According to Kevin, the paintification feller there, was on Trucks and Horsepower TV, I think, and all that stuff. So it sounds like it's best to degrease by using a solvent-based and a water-based degreaser for all the different types of grease you got. So on one of the episodes, he was with Vice Grip's Garage, and he was wiping down the A surfaces with naphtha. And then he's using something water-based, a glass cleaner, sometimes that they use. Right yonder here. So I used naphtha first, and then some glass cleaner, and then I just went over it with isopropyl alcohol. Cleaned up pretty good. So we're going to slather some POR 15 now that it's been properly degreased. And I'm using that down here just because there's some rust. Here we go. So I got one coat of POR 15 down. Instead of doing 2 coats, I'll probably just hit her with some epoxy primer when we get to that point. Sanded down up yonder. So I wiped all this down really good, degreased her, and I'm gonna go ahead and roll some Bondo in there. To be honest, she's kind of old, but it mixes. She's mixing just fine. Nothing separating. And the hardener, The hardener, I kneaded it really good, and it came out just fine. None of it's separating. So I went ahead and put a little bit through here. It sticks, hardens, and sands like Bondo usually does. Kind of a pain in the butt to sand, but it's cheap. So that's what I got. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of smooth out those welds all the way across, make it a little bit more purty. Here we go. Shake. Shake. Find the placement for here. Just measuring straight across. Then we'll take another measurement this way. So we got these brackets cut off the old plenum. Gonna get ready to burn it in on the new one. We took measurements, just some reference measurements on the old one, and gonna do my best to position it the same way and go ahead and get her burned in. here we go. Pushing this flat rearwards so you could feel where it's contacting the corner here. And this kind of swivels, so I'm keeping this straight because that's how it was on the original piece. Measured to about 7 3/4. Right about there. Burner in. Alright, got her in place. Try the other side. Good enough. Got the welder put away. The next thing I got to do before we start painting is I need to get the glove box lock out. So we're going to go ahead and take a stab at her. So this will be your GM A-body glove box lock removal. So you can see the glove box is already out. Now to get this out, there's a little gap on the back side. We're going to put our screwdriver in it to depress the, I guess you could call it a key, and then gently start to pull out on this. And then it'll probably click, and then you have to depress it again through the window and keep doing it until it comes out. First, this needs to be in the closed position. Where are you at? So there's that little window. So if you look in the window, that's the piece that needs to be pushed down. Now watch, I'll unlock it and how it moves. So that needs to be in the lock position, and that piece that just jumped into the frame is what we're going to push down. Here we go. Okay, so it's in the locked position. So I'm going to put the pick tool in here. Push right there, and then I'm pulling on the where the key would go in. And so it stopped. I'm going to depress it again. Pull. Each time I press that, I'm not pulling. Let it relax, then pull, push, then pull. And there we go. Here's a better look. Here's the these brass keys that pop up each time as it's coming out. There we go. Got the lock cylinder out, and I wiped underneath the dash. Actually did a little bit of wire wheeling and a little sanding. Take a peeky poo here. I want to get some sort of coating underneath the dash just to make it look a little more gooder. So I hit a couple spots, already wire wheeled and sanded the snot out of the bottom and try to remove some of the rust with the Eastwood fast etch. And then I just sanded it again and wiped it down with naphtha and isopropyl alcohol. Yeah, try to say that there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna rattle can it underneath there, throw some primer on there, and paint it black. Here we go. Kind of like the look of the primer. It's really easy to see underneath the dash. The black just limits your view. Put the big old fan on here and open the rear window so we had a nice airflow going this way. This is just for the 3M mask for just the dust filters. Obviously not going to stop paint, but having this fan on worked pretty well. All right, I think I'll tear all this stuff apart and then maybe in a couple days be able to shoot some epoxy primer whenever I get around to it. All right, it's wrap for the night.